Hey y'all, welcome to a best of edition of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. These best of editions of the show feature amazing guests and episodes of the podcast you may have missed when they first aired. If you are new to the show, these are those can't miss episodes we really want you to listen to. Or maybe you're a long-time listener. We want to bring these episodes back around for you to enjoy again. Our goal is to bring you our best content every week so you have everything that you need to build a better future for your family. So wherever you are listening today, enjoy this week's best of edition of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast.
Hey y'all, on today's podcast, we help Rebecca take her performance coaching business to the next level.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sands. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. As always, it is great to be back with you again this week. For those of you who may be new to the show, the Flip Lifestyle Podcast is a little different than other online business shows. We don't bring on gurus or people promoting their latest products. No, we bring on actual clients from our Flip Your Life community, members of our community who need help to get to the next level in their online business. We treat this just like a full-on coaching call where we help them with their biggest challenges that they're experiencing right now, and we help them solve that problem and take it to the next level. We are super excited for our Flip Your Life community member guest today. It is Rebecca Smith. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So pleased to be here.
Yes, it is awesome to have you today. We are looking forward to talking to you because our children are involved in a variety of sports and activities, and so it'll be interesting to hear what you have to say about how you coach and work with your clients. So with that in mind, tell us a little bit about you and your background and your online business.
So I currently have a private practice working with athletes age 11 to 17 on average, and they are typically swimmers, gymnasts, golfers, tennis players, a lot of those individual sports that have a major mental component. But of course, every sport and every performance arena has a big mental piece. So I have a master's in sports psychology. I was a gymnast. I was a gymnastics coach, and I realized that those mental blocks were what really could help kids get to the next level with their sport. So I went back to school and then started this private practice. And then I had a baby, and now I'm starting to look at what you guys talk about, the trading time for dollars thing.
Yeah.
And wanting to broaden my scope and be able to make some residual income so that I can have more babies and more time.
I think you're the first person to ever say that on the show. That you're like, I want babies. So, that's awesome. But it is cool because the online business does give you the opportunity to have more flexibility in your time and your schedule, and to be able to make those life decisions. And that's really what it's all about. We get so wrapped up in America, especially in our careers and things like that, that we put those life things to the side. And I think it's just absolutely awesome that you're making that like a priority in your life. Okay. Let me ask you a little bit more about your business. So it sounds like you work a lot with individual sports people more, like the golfers, the swimmers. Do you work with big teams and team settings, or is it more like you would go to a team and you would find the kids on that team that need your help? Like, this isn't like more of a group motivational thing. It's more of a, which of the individuals need my help, and I work one-on-one with them. Is that what you do?
Sure. I am trained to work with teams. I enjoy working with teams. So I have, example, a gymnastics team I go and work with every other week. Okay. And I'll go in and do a parent workshop for a swim team, or I'll do a series of 6 or 10 workshops for a swim team or a golf team. But that typically spins out into individuals who want a little bit more help. So it's a little bit of both, really.
So it's kind of like you get clients from these group meetings. So there's a big benefit from working with the groups because you will get those individual people. But it's mostly like the individual sports teams. Like, these are swim teams, but they swim kind of on their own. They're gymnastics teams, but they're kind of like on the, apparatus by themselves kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of become my niche because I was a gymnast and I intimately understand the individual sport athlete.
Okay, cool.
All right, Rebecca. Well, that tells us a lot of information about you and your business. So let's go ahead and jump into your questions today. What's the one thing that's really holding you back the most right now?
I am not sure which direction to take. I have 100,000 ideas and I'm getting really excited about taking this idea to the parents, essentially teaching parents how to teach their kids the things that I teach them. Because that's a lot of what I do in group meetings. I'll meet with parents and then they go, what do I do? How do I support my kid? Where do I back off? Where do I step in? And so I've got a lot of great content that I can roll out to parents. Do I focus on something small, like a mini course, or do I go into a more big, involved course? I guess since all my knowledge is one-on-one, how do I best start the momentum online with this stuff?
Like to scale that out, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, depending on your content that you're considering creating, I actually see this as more of a membership product, honestly. I'm assuming that a lot of the psychology components of what you do are similar, or they're not as dependent on the sport. Would that be correct?
Yeah, yep, definitely all carries across.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that maybe you would have a type of membership product for individual sport athletes. And maybe, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here, but as you were talking about what you do, it sort of popped in my head that challenges might be a good thing for you. So maybe you could have a 10-day challenge, a 30-day challenge to get past certain, mental blocks or I don't know your terminology, obviously.
For sure.
But yeah, I was just thinking that might be a good solution for you. And then you could market those to different sports at different times of the year.
Yeah, and I think that, we had a good discussion with you in the forums the other day about this. And, our son Isaac, he's a swimmer. Okay, we've talked about that on the show before. But our son Isaac also has anxiety. When things change or when something new happens, he doesn't really respond to that well. He usually can get past it, but he's not going to do it right in that instance. For example, we had a swim meet the other day. Isaac has always been a freestyle swimmer and a backstroke swimmer. Well, all of a sudden, the coach signed him up for butterfly. Now, he knows how to do butterfly, but he had never done it in a competition, and the anxiety just overwhelmed him, and he freaked out. He almost won the race, was what was hilarious, So, we can point to that and say, look, dude, you can do it, but he was literally in tears. But I'm willing to bet that common problem of anxiety is something that you could create content around, like how to overcome performance anxiety, like how to get off the starting block, whether it's athlete, whatever. That's probably a common thing that you could generalize, create. So now when a parent comes to you, whatever the sport, and they say, I don't know how to help my kid through his anxiety. Oh, well, that's cool. If you join my membership, we'll help you get through his anxiety. And then I have lots of other trainings for whatever aspects come up, or you can just ask me questions through the forums in my community. So I think you're on point here talking to the parents. There's no way you're going to be able to talk to every team and every player. That's not how this is going to scale, What you got to do is you've got to become the teacher for the teacher. You've got to provide the resources and the direction and the pathway for the parent to overcome these challenges as they come along. Some of those resources might be for the kid, but I think most of them are, like you said earlier, what do I do? I would have paid, at that moment, $100 to figure out how to help my kid not cry on the pool deck. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, there is a need for this, and there's a value to it. You just got to figure out a way to generalize it.
So I think that the thing that we have to go to next is what you're saying at the beginning is that, that you do have all these ideas. So which one should you start with?
Yeah.
So I feel what you're saying there. So
what are the common problems? If I said right now, the three things you deal with the most in psychology of you're coaching these athletes, what are the three biggest mindset hurdles? What are they?
Number one, anxiety.
Okay.
Number two is confidence, which kind of leads into control. It's all related to anxiety. They feel like they don't have control. They lose confidence. They get anxious.
Okay.
And then the other one is motivation. So it's the kids who their parents see potential, their coaches see potential, but they don't put in enough work to really get where they could go.
So what I would do, I would start small. It's easy to set up a membership community. We've got a training that'll do that in a day or two. You know what I mean? But like what I would do from a content perspective is start small. Start with the anxiety. Don't focus on the sport or the individual or whatever. Say, I have a thing that helps you, the parent, deal with your kid's sports anxiety. Once you've got that content that you can see that they can go in and consume it, then you'll be able to work with them. You'll be able to talk with them. They'll be able to ask you questions. And then you can say, oh, by the way, there's also my next course is going to be about motivation. Stick around. You see what I'm saying? And you can just build this brick by brick as you go. Don't try to create a course for every single problem. Pick a problem, the most common problem that all of your athletes usually deal with, and that's where we'll start at, targeting the parent as the avatar.
Yeah, so I think you could do it one of two ways. You could either create courses or you could do it in more of a challenge type model, which I think would be good for marketing as far as like parents go. So it might be like 10 days to less anxiety, less sports related anxiety.
So you teach them the course material while they're participating in this challenge where they have an activity each day with their kid. They talk, whatever you would do, you're helping them do basically. Pick anxiety and do it. And just
and see what happens.
And see what happens. And then if it does work or it doesn't work, okay, pick motivation, do that next. It doesn't matter how long the list is. You got to do the next thing. I used to work for this football coach. I won't name him, but I used to work for this football coach in college when I was in college football coaching. I can't say this whole story on air because there's lots of swear words.
We got to give the PG version.
I'm going to give the PG version of the story. I got really overwhelmed one time because he gave me so much stuff to do because I was like a coach plus director of football operations, and I had to plan all of our trips, and I was overwhelmed. And he brought me in, and he basically threw a yellow pad, like a legal pad, in my lap, right? And it had just this massive list on it. And he goes, "That's your life, Shane. And all you can do is the next thing on the list. So you know what I've been doing for 40 years? I write down everything I got on this yellow pad, and I do the next one." Now, he had a lot more F words and other stuff in that sense. But
a lot more colorful language in the original story.
It doesn't matter what's in the notebook. It doesn't matter just do one of them and see what happens. So pick anxiety, do it, and then the good thing is you've got people you can market it to right now. Why can't we turn some of your offline clients into your first online clients? I bet if you go to a team and they have 20 kids, maybe a few of them hire you, but there's probably 18 other ones that don't. But there might be 2 to 4 of those that would do it in this kind of setting if they could do it on their own through a membership community.
Well, it would be nice to have something for right now to offer next to your in-person or Skype consultations. So maybe your in-person sessions are really expensive. I'm sure that they are, as they should be, because that's time with you. But maybe alongside it, you could say, okay, you can pay me this to work with me one-on-one, or you can pay this for the membership community, which includes these different training scenarios for X dollars a month.
Right. And I'll be there to answer your questions. It just won't be in real time. You can leave a question on a video. I'll come back in and answer it later. And I'll help you personally with your kids' thing, but it's going to be more in a asynchronous way back and forth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, there's no reason that you can't turn a percentage of the people you interact with right now. Like everyone gets freaked out about online business because they're like, oh, well, how am I going to find my beta members? How am I going to get people on my Facebook group? How am I going to do that? But a lot of people that come to us have a real world business clientele. They work with real people in real life, and they could probably convert some of those into this online continuous income stream that's not trading so many times for dollars.
So, yeah, I know that probably wasn't exactly where you thought you were heading based on what I saw from your question here. But, like, how do you feel about that? Do you think that that's something that could possibly work?
Does that make sense in your space?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's actually along the lines of what I was thinking was create some kind of anxiety product that is something I can get out to parents now. I guess it's just kind of not knowing enough about how to set up a membership site, which I will go in and watch that training. And then the next question that you just kind of touched on is that how do I propose this then to a group of people, say on my email list, who haven't hired me but have expressed interest from my group talks?
Yeah. So
how do I pitch that to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think what you do is you just go to them very excitedly and you just say, hey, I have a great new offering. Some of you guys have expressed interest in working with me, but maybe you couldn't do it at that time, or, maybe
it was too
maybe the price was too high.
Whatever.
And so now I have a more budget-friendly option where you can get my training and access for me to help you and your child for the low monthly price of X dollars a month.
Yeah. And I think some of your clients too, I think everyone always wants more clients, but sometimes, like, one of the things we did when we started coaching on Flip Lifestyle, when we started our membership, we eliminated one-on-one coaching. We took it out. We got rid of it. And I'm not saying you should do that.
But we did that after a while.
Yeah. But what I'm saying that you could do, I bet there's some of your clients that might only grab one session with you or 2 sessions. This might turn them into a forever customer where they're going to pay you monthly for good, because they don't have to come up with the big fee. They don't have to sit down at a certain time on a calendar. They can just get what they need to help their kid, and they get access to you, and it's a little bit more convenient to them. I'm sure you've had clients that are like, they do 1 session, maybe 2, then they quit, when really their kid needs continuous support, So you could you could get, this provides like an upsell after that. You can say, we did one-on-one. Maybe you don't want any more one-on-one. We'll just come in here and you can have access to me whenever you need it.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually a great way to keep being of service to people who have done the major work with.
And what you'll find too, it's the most fascinating thing. We find this with live events, or we do group masterminds. When you get people continuously a part of your thing, like you get them one-on-one a couple times, maybe solve a small problem, but then they join your community later. Those people are the ones that will later on, when you say, okay, a new problem comes up, you never left their site, you never left their mind, they're going to turn immediately to you to hire you for that one-on-one call to make more money on the back end of that too. So it's going to keep your client and your income more consistent by getting them involved in this like continuous relationship with you.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Well, with that in mind, what additional questions do you have for us?
Okay, so now moving into kind of the more specific stuff, let's say I want to roll with anxiety. Do I put together a series of videos? Do I, what kind of things do I need to have in order to really get a membership site that's valuable? Okay. How much content? What do I need in there?
Okay, imagine this. Imagine I come to you, Shane Sams and Jocelyn show up at your door, okay? And imagine I tell you the exact story that I told you earlier about Isaac on the pool deck, okay? So let's say that within X sessions, maybe it's 2 to 3 sessions, we can help Isaac at least get through this and give him some tools to deal with it, right? Whatever that might take. I'm just picking numbers. Whatever we would do one-on-one in those exact sessions, whatever you would tell us generally, whatever you would show us generally, whatever tips or tactics or tools that you have that we would go through, or that you would take a student through, you need to lay all that out and say what can actually be put into these training videos. That's what you would create. You want to try to create an experience that's as similar to that one-on-one call as possible. Some of it won't be in there, but that's what the forum's for. That's what the access is for. You'll look at it exactly whatever you would tell me in those 2 to 3 hours we actually spend together. That's your first course. And you want to try to mimic that experience as close as possible. You'll have to add some things. Like, you're going to have to add things like, do you understand this? Do you have a question? Ask in the forum. Some calls to action.
Maybe have some worksheets that go along with the activity that they could write things down to help them remember.
Whatever you would do in those sessions is what's going to become your course content, basically.
Yeah, and as far as like how much to have, this is a question that we get all the time. And the answer is that you really don't have to have that much. The main goal of your community is going to be the actual community, and that means where people can come in, they can talk to each other, they can talk to you, they can get that attention that you can give them in a forum type environment that maybe they can't get one-on-one because maybe they don't have that upfront cost to pay to you. Like
another thing that we have, Jocelyn, one of our children has a medical problem, and we are in a community of other parents who have this problem. Like, I would love to be in a community of sports parents that their kid has anxiety, because not only am I going to get your expertise, and you've got the chops, I mean, you've got the degrees, you've got everything, you've got the experience, but now I'm also with other people that we can talk through this and figure out. It's not even figuring out the answers. It's just, I'm not alone. I'm not the guy standing there on the pool deck with my crying son and I have no idea how to handle it. That's not just me anymore. So like that's another thing you're surviving here is that tight network of people who are going through these issues at the same time.
But you're in a great position right now because you already have a client base. You have people who have said that they're interested in your product, and you have a place to start, which is by making this anxiety product. So what I would do is what we've always done. I would go ahead and start making the anxiety product, and I would send something out to my current list, my current people who said they were interested, and I would say, look, I have this great thing coming up. I'm in the process of making it right now. Here's the first part, and here's what I have in mind for the rest of the content. So, I'm going to make this product about anxiety. It's already here. I'm also going to make this one about motivation and whatever else you said earlier. And that's what I have in mind. Here's an opportunity for you to become what's called a beta member. That means just the first people who are coming into your community. You're going to get it at a discount, and that price will stay with you as long as you remain a member, and you're going to help me to be able to mold my future content. Yeah. This is how we sell pretty much everything.
It's actually a great way to harness your shiny object syndrome, where you're like, I have 1,000 ideas. Well, the great thing is, when you pre-sell something, you can list all the ideas. Here's my plan. I plan on doing all these things, but this one's made. Like the anxiety product, really, realistically, should probably be 3 to 6, 15 to 20-minute videos. That's it. That's all you have to make. And then try to mimic 2. Imagine we're going to go through 2 calls. That's all I can afford. How would you help me with my son's anxiety in 2 calls? The general tips and tools of the trade. That's what the first thing does, with a lot of calls to actions to come back to your forum and ask you follow-up questions, which are going to produce more content, right? Because that's searchable. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is these, 3 to 6, 15 to 20-minute videos. That's it. And then you sell it, like Jocelyn said, on here's all my ideas. Whatever you need next, I'll do for you.
And so I'm going to get you to help me as beta members to develop the rest of this content. I'm going to answer your questions. They will have questions that you possibly didn't anticipate. And you can work all that into your future products. And the best part is when you have people in that community paying, that is incentive for you to get that stuff done. Right. Because you're not going to move on to something else because you've already told these people who are paying you that you're going to do A, B, and C. You can't move on to D, E, and F or X, Y, and Z.
Does that make sense?
Yep. So rather than creating the anxiety product and then just putting it out for sale, you're saying create the anxiety product and then offer it as part of the membership.
Yep.
Start the membership price low, and then as I build, I can up the price.
Yeah,
Is that kind of deal?
Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to say, hey, guys, I sell access to me, and I sell information on how to overcome mindset and psychological problems for sports athletes. But I right now am focusing on helping you and your child with your child's anxiety. So then what happens is, a month or 2 later, you create the motivation product. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I help people with anxiety and motivation. And then 2 or 3 months later, you create another one. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I have people with anxiety, motivation, this, that, and the other. And then eventually you just say, I'm the mindset and sports coach. I can help you with a host of things. Here's the list. Join. Or all of the above. Eventually you will sell it as a process to take your child from 11 to 17 through their sports career and make sure they have the greatest experience and become the best they can be. But right now it's just, I want all the parents whose kids have anxiety in my sports membership. And the membership is access to me and a community and content to overcome this problem. And then you'll just grow it from there. You got to start somewhere and grow it. Don't try to grow it and then, provide everything. That takes too much time.
I guess my biggest fear is, what do I do with a community of 1 or a community of 3?
You treat them, okay, right now, do you have one-on-one meetings with people?
I do.
Okay, then you just do it like that. You just treat it like that's all you do.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
You treat those initial people like they are your family. Like you really cater to them. You keep them involved. You get their input. Their input is going to be like gold to you moving forward.
Like if let's say you get 5 people, right? That's fantastic. Because now those 5 people are your partners in building this. You can provide things now. You can do what doesn't scale. You can get on Skype calls with your first few members. You can talk to them. You can ask them where they're confused in the membership or what they need more training on. Create those things, flesh this out. Then the second round, maybe you sell it and you get 20 to 30 people.
And the best part is with those first people, you're going to get really, really vitally important testimonials from them because you're going to be offering them that much value.
And I think this would be an easy thing for you to sell because people who come from offline to online like you already have testimonials. You've already got kids that have overcome problems. You've already got parents that are happy with their results. So you right away have testimonials. It doesn't matter if it's online or off. You delivered a result. You've got testimonials. Testimonials sell products online. So you're going to have a much easier time marketing this early than someone who's 100% starting from scratch. And that's another reason we always tell everybody that comes in, start with where you're expert enough, because you've probably delivered results in the real world, and that can be translated to online.
Okay, let's do it.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I know that was an overwhelming amount of information, but I think that you have something that's really cool here, and you can make this into a really awesome membership site. So with all this stuff in mind, I know that was a lot that we threw at you. Tell us something that you're going to take action on, say in the next 24 to 48 hours based on what we talked about today.
I am going to get on the membership site and learn how to create a membership site. That'll be first. And then also get my ideas formulated into an outline for the anxiety course.
Awesome. And throw that in the forums, and we will be happy to help you with any of that we can to help you kind of dial down and figure out exactly what to create and what to save for later, okay?
Okay.
Well, Rebecca, you've got a great idea. You've done a great job building that offline business. And I have a funny feeling that you are going to do a very good job in the future, and you're going to get this online business thing out there as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show today and for allowing us to share this with the Flip Lifestyle audience so that everybody could learn from our discussion.
Thank you so much.
That was another information-packed call with one of our Flip Your Life community members. Hope that you got a lot of benefit out of our answers to our guests' questions as well. If you'd like to become a member of our Flip Your Life community, head over to fliplifestyle.com/flipyourlife, and we can help you with your online business.
All right, it's time to move into our Can't Miss Moments segment of the show, and these are moments that we were able to experience that we might have missed if we were still working at a normal 9-to-5 job.
Today's Can't Miss Moment is a good one. We got to go and meet my new nephew. My brother and his wife just had a baby, and they had a little boy, and it was awesome because we took the kids and just took them out of school, took off, went up there for the weekend, and said, hey, let's go meet our new nephew. Let's be there and meet this little guy as he's coming into the world. And just to have the freedom to be able to experience those amazing moments with your family. My brother does live about 3.5 hours away from here, up near in southern Ohio. And it was great to be able to go and do that without having to worry about, calling in for work or missing a day of work. Or anything like that. We just took off and took the kids to meet their new baby cousin.
They had a really good time holding him. They love babies, especially Anna, so she was really excited to see the new baby, and Isaac was too. And we took him out of school a little bit early on a Friday and just headed on up there just to have a little bit of fun.
And it was cool because I have a really big family. Jocelyn has a good-sized family, and sometimes it's kind of weird because we're the only people that can just go do that. Like everyone else might have to wait a couple weeks. A couple of my brothers, they couldn't go up there to see the new baby, but my brother was coming down here, in a couple of weeks. So they were just going to wait until the baby came down here. But we had the freedom to just be able to take off and go experience that with them. And that was just one of my favorite can't miss moments ever because it was awesome to meet our new little family member. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Before we sign off, we'd like to close every one of our shows with a verse from the Bible. Today's Bible verse comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. And the Bible says, whatever you do, work hard as if working for the Lord and not for men. Remember, guys, everything in your life, there's a bigger picture at stake. You don't have to please anyone. Just go out there and use the talents and use the abilities that God has given you. Get out there and use it to change the world and make something happen in your own life. That's all the time we have for this week. As always, guys, thanks for listening to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. And until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Gosh, that kind of
Mind blown. I heard a mind being blown on the other end of the call. Rebecca's like me. Her mind is always moving. Like she is the shiny object syndrome person in her family. I guarantee it.
Oh my gosh, I am.
Just try to put the blinders on. I know it's hard, but try to put them on. Get into the forums. That's what we're here for. And tell us every day what you're doing, and we'll help to guide you to get this done.
Thank you for listening to this best of edition of the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. We would love to help you take your next steps toward your goals. We have a free online business quick start course over at our website at flippedlifestyle.com. This course will help you set big goals and make them happen, find and validate your ideas today, and help you identify and find your perfect customers. Our online business quick start guide is a free resource, and you can get it right now over at flippedlifestyle.com. That's FLIPPED lifestyle.com. Head there right now and download your free resource today.